a tent collapsed on hundreds of people. CBS42 News reporter Hillary Simon is there live right now on the scene. And Hillary, the weather is being blamed here.
Sherry, it is. You imagine about 400 people, we're told, were out here at Traditions Park, shareholders for Tradition Bank enjoying an annual dinner. Well, you can see the damage behind me. This tent right here, this is what everybody was under when we're told from the fire chief that a pop-up storm, like we know very well in Alabama summer, just came about, and so much damage in this area. You can see all of the tables, chairs that are cut in half, poles that are down. It's luckily that only 12 injuries we're hearing of. Look, there's even still salt and pepper shakers that are on the floor. This whole place, you can tell everybody was probably enjoying a nice dinner when this happened. We're told over 400 people were here, and apparently the initial report came out, according to the fire chief, that it was over 100 injuries.
It's a frightening reality that could be in a vehicle driving beside, behind, or in front of you. We know it because it happened to one of our photojournalists. A dark, winding road. A driver swerves into a guardrail, crosses the center line more than once, and narrowly misses oncoming traffic. Sadly, more than once as well. Here's what happened when the vehicle finally stopped.
You didn't have anything to drink?
Although they declined to go on camera, a person familiar with the driver and his circumstances told us the young man struggled with addiction. He claimed someone slipped a drug into his drink without his knowledge. We took this same video to the Foundry Ministries Men's Recovery Center, where we asked Jared Crawford,
it's like playing Russian roulette.
Tyler Matto.
It's not just a game. It's not like you can just hit, it's the video game, you can just hit restart.
And Jeremy Fladstall to watch and give us their reaction to a person driving on drugs.
And it's scary. Anything could have happened during that drive. I mean, there could have been somebody walking down the shoulder of the road when he drifted off, not even knew he hit him.
Jeremy, Tyler, and Jared are in different stages of addiction recovery, and when it comes to drugged driving, all three have a story.
How many times would you say you've gotten behind the wheel of a car impaired to it just impaired?
Impaired in general? Countless.
Yeah.
Countless.
I couldn't even imagine the number.
My situation, it involves Xanax. And it was right after my ex-wife had kicked me out. The last thing I remember is taking several of them and then waking up at my ex-wife's house, which was 20 minutes away from my parents. And I don't know how I don't remember driving or anything. I mean, it's all just blacked out.
In my case, I've kind of been on both ends. I've actually been in accidents because of it. I walk outside and I look, my truck's parked halfway up on the curb, and it's just how, through my ignorance, somebody else's could get harmed, or even my life could get. I mean, if I'd got in an accident and killed somebody, my life would have changed forever. I mean, and somebody else.
Whether behind the wheel or behind closed doors, America's opioid crisis is changing our communities.
I wish that people could see it through our eyes and through the eyes of the family, and really take that to heart, because we're talking about families being shattered, and it impacts first responders, communities. It's far-reaching.
We hit the streets with Captain Ryan Farrell of the Vestavia Hills Fire Department to see what they are encountering.
Battalion 1's on scene. We've had several calls where we've had motorists, even in intersections with the vehicle in gear, bought the drugs and overdosed on the roadways here. And that's a danger not only to them, but to other motorists being impaired in that way.
Have you guys heard of anyone driving and doing heroin?
Oh yeah, I mean, that was my downfall. That was my drug of choice, was opiates and heroin for the past, it's been almost 6 years. And then, yeah, I would drive to pick it up and do what I had to do, and I'd drive home or drive where I needed to go to the next point. And yeah, it does impair you where you will end up falling asleep. I mean, I've fallen asleep in the car. I wasn't driving. I've never been in the situation where I'd be at a stoplight and actually completely falling asleep. But I mean, it does impair you enough where you should not be on the road.
But as this shocking video shows, sometimes some people
He just felt like when he was going to do heroin,
struggling with addiction
he was not going to be found dead in his car.
are on the road.
And he would actually turn his steering wheel all the way to the right, put it in gear, and hold his foot on the brake and cut his flashes off.
And you just may be the person they encounter.
Ended up here behind me at River Chase Galleria inside the mall at Foot Action, most of them taking a moment of silence and all demanding answers. The protest in front of Hoover City Hall moved into a major roadway Monday evening as protesters called for justice in the death of Emantic E.J. Bradford Jr. Holding signs like this, Hoover PD believes the Second Amendment only applies to white civilians. They continue to chant as they walk toward the River Chase Galleria.
Fight up! Fight up! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Bradford Jr. was shot to death by a Hoover police officer on Thanksgiving. The officer was responding to a shooting inside the mall where a 12-year-old girl and an 18-year-old male were severely wounded. Thursday night, police held a press conference saying the shooter had been fatally shot by their officer. Friday evening, they issued a statement explaining they no longer believed Bradford fired any shots and said the actual shooter remains at large.
What we want, justice!
Protesters entered through Belk's department store with a mission in mind. They prayed, ending up here in front of Foot Action where Bradford was shot and killed.
We want justice for all black men and black women and brown men and brown women the world over. It makes no sense that those who are paid with our money to protect and serve us kill us. Blood cries out. Blood cries out for justice. We want justice for EJ, and we want it right away. We want justice for EJ, and we want it right away.
The protesters left peacefully and no arrests were made. Meantime, they too demand answers.
What message do you have for Hoover Police Department?
That black people can be legal gun owners too.
We're a few hours from kickoff, but already we're seeing tailgaters and the environment start to get up. And college football, one of those environments that the millions of kids who play high school football only dream of attending and being a part of, but only the best of the best get to actually experience it. Well, C.J. Harris, a defensive back recruit from Warner Robins, Georgia, was supposed to be one of those players. He didn't sign a letter of intent, but he had a preferred walk-on offer from the Auburn Tigers, his dream school, which he accepted, but then became the nightmare and an impossible choice between a life-altering medicine and his dream of playing college football. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, just outside of Warner Robins, Georgia. C.J. Harris should be preparing for his first camp in the rigors of college football. Instead, he's getting in a morning workout at a local CrossFit gym. Working, fighting, and hoping his football career hasn't heard the final whistle.
Keep working out, doing what I have to do to stay prepared, because you never know when you're going to get that call and be like, we want you. Then when you get there, you got to show the coaches you can really play.
For Harris, the last few months have been a struggle and a lifelong battle that began 4 years ago. When CJ was sitting in one of his 8th grade classes, he suddenly passed out. At the hospital, they determined it was a seizure, his first. 2 years later, it happened again with much more serious results.
I get to the hospital, his head's busted open, he's got scars all over. I'm saying, what happened? And they said, well, he was just walking out there on the sidewalk and just fell out and just started spazzing and shaking and all on the sidewalk.
CJ was diagnosed with epilepsy, a neurological disorder which causes unexpected and often unpredictable seizures. The disorder kept CJ from living a normal life. He couldn't swim, he couldn't play football, he couldn't drive. The family tried everything to help curb his seizures, but the side effects outweighed the benefits.
He went from taking 1 pill at night to 1 pill in the morning to 4 pills at night to 4 pills in the morning. And I can tell you what that did to his attitude, his demeanor. I mean, CJ's a great kid. He has a great personality, sweet, great. People love him. But that changed. It wasn't the same person that you would see now. So it was like, man, I want my son back.
Until they found something that worked.
The first thing, when you say like the name, people be like, "Oh, you smoking?" I was like, "No, it's just oil. I put in a syringe and put it in my tongue. You don't get high or anything like that."
CJ began taking cannabis or CBD oil, an extract derived from the hemp plant. He started taking the oil in January of 2017 and has not had a seizure since.
Like for the people that don't take it, really don't know about the medicine, they're gonna have that reaction like, "Oh, he's smoking or anything like that. He's getting high."
The oil did more than just get CJ's epilepsy under control. It gave him his life back, and Curtis Harris finally felt comfortable to let his son continue playing football. CJ's senior year, the Warner Robin Demons went to the 5A state championship game and came close to winning a state title. And CJ landed a preferred walk-on spot at his dream school of Auburn. Everything was falling into place until suddenly it wasn't.
I got a call or text from Auburn, and they was like, "You can't play because of your disorder."
CJ was told he would not be eligible to play at the NCAA Division I or Division II level due to his use of CBD oil.
Why take something from a person that works so hard and, tell them they can't play because of something they can't control?
Auburn rescinded the preferred walk-on spot, saying that Harris wouldn't be cleared due to his epilepsy.
Well, that was, if I remember right, it was more NCAA, as far as that goes, but wish him nothing but the best.
For them to say that I can't play because of my epilepsy, it really, crushed my dreams.
Under the NCAA's drug guidelines, athletes are not permitted to have tetrahydrocannabinol oil or THC in their systems.
The concern about the THC level in what CJ is taking, in my opinion, is misplaced.
Dr. Charlie Dean is a family medicine doctor in Warner Robins who works with CJ and says neither his epilepsy nor the use of CBD oil should be any concern and keep CJ from playing football.
Just because he has seizures, if they're well controlled, then I don't think I would be adamant about him not playing football.
Faced with an impossible choice, his dream of playing college football or a life-altering drug, CJ Harris hopes to be given a chance to prove that others who suffer from epilepsy should be judged by their ability, not their disability. And unfortunately, this is a topic that is being debated across the United States in so many different forums. And when I spoke to CJ, I asked him how he felt being the first one to kind of go through this and be the poster child of all this. He said, even if I don't get to live out my dream, it's not about me. It's about everyone else who takes this kind of medicine and still wants to be a Division I athlete. He wants to do it for them, so if he doesn't get to live out his dream, maybe they can live out theirs.
CBS42's Scott McDowell takes us to Gibbs Place.
I tell them, once you come down the hill and you see all the lights, it's magic. Even Jesus Christ. Something that comes over you. You can feel the spirit of love when you come down here. That we used to do. You can't explain it. We're in Bessemer, Alabama. Hey, where you from? A Juke Joint is where people come together and listen to the music. My name's Diane Guyton, and this is Gibbs Place. It's Henry Gibson. He's got more energy than I got. Thank you, baby. He's 98, and he still goes. I've been booking the bands here for 4 years. How many first-timers do I have? Mr. Gibbs started this place in 1952. He originally was going to do a baseball field for the kids, but he played music, and they wanted to play music. So he eventually built what you see now. He's keep adding on, but it used to just be a platform out in his backyard, and it's gone worldwide. What makes it so special? What you make it special? And he'll tell you in a heartbeat. Well, you feel it when you walk in and walk out. You have to be comfortable.
That is God giving you the feeling. It is God.
Brought him to tears. His motto is there's no whites, no blacks, just the blues. And he tries to bring everybody together. And when everybody's down here, you feel like one big family. Now, Mr. Guilt will grab you and dance. He may pull your wife up and put you with somebody else.
I don't want my wife to see it.
But people don't care. You know, they're just here to have a good time. B.B. King's been here. Some of the old blues guys. I mean, you can see the pictures on the walls. There's just a peace that comes over you. Everybody's one. He don't see color. You got to meet him to know it and to appreciate this place and to love it. Makes my soul happy. Everybody needs to try, because if you come once, you'll come again.
To everyone, God bless you.